after my husband kissed the female secretary. When I pushed open the door to my boyfriend's birthday party room carrying a cake, a burst of enthusiastic cheers erupted inside. Victor was holding the female secretary, sharing a kiss through a damp tissue. The lively room instantly fell silent when they saw it was me who opened the door. The female secretary's face flushed deep red, the tissue fluttered to the floor, and she shyly covered her face, hiding behind Victor. Victor glanced at me coldly and said, "What a buzzkill." I set down the cake, calmly told everyone, "Sorry to interrupt," and turned to leave. The woman's voice carried a hint of coyness. "Victor, doesn't Claire misunderstand us? I can go explain. She's just being petty, not the first time. By tonight, she'll be apologizing and begging for mercy. Just ignore her." In an instant, the quiet in the private room was shattered, laughter erupting all around. They've been together for 10 years, right? Victor is Claire's whole world. Who doesn't know Claire has been Victor's devoted admirer since college? But even a clay figure has some spirit. No matter how much I loved Victor like my life for 10 years, I couldn't withstand disappointment after disappointment. After too many letdowns, the heart dies. The closed door blocked out the laughter inside. I took a taxi back to the home I'd lived in for 8 years, an empty, cold room, lingering with a faint scent of creamy sweetness. It was the birthday cake I made for Victor. We've known each other for 10 years, been together for 8, and every year I've personally made his birthday cake. This should be the last time. A beep from my phone, it was a message from Victor. "They want me to celebrate all night tonight. You're making me lose face like this today. You should seriously reflect on what it takes to deserve the title of Victor's wife." I exited the chat and my phone refreshed to a Facebook update from Victor's secretary, Vivian. In the GIF, under dim lighting, Victor and Vivian were locked in a passionate kiss, while the background echoed with enthusiastic cheers. Vivian captioned, "A kiss of blessings, your great adventure, my heartfelt truth." Victor was right there liking the post. Victor and I met in high school. In college, he coaxed me into losing my virginity, and since then, we've been entangled together for a full 8 years. He never allowed me to post our photos on Facebook or any social media, and he never liked or commented on my Facebook posts. I just thought he didn't like his private life being exposed to the public eye. But it turned out, from the very beginning, he simply didn't want me to appear on his social media at all. I turned off my phone and went back to my room, collapsing into bed immediately. This was the first time since we got together that I went to sleep without waiting for Victor to come home. In the middle of the night, half asleep, I heard the sound of a door opening, followed by a loud bang as the bedroom door was kicked open. The bedroom light suddenly flashed on, and a pillow was hurled sharply at my face. In an instant, all my sleep vanished. Victor's face was dark and stormy, his whole body reeking of smoke and alcohol. "Claire, do you really have to prove your existence like this? Is messing with me fun for you? Do you even know allergies can be deadly? You're jealous of Vivian, thinking that just because she's with me every day, she has to make mango cream cakes that cause her to be hospitalized with an allergy? Claire, since when did your heart turn so vicious?" In his roar, I pieced together the whole story. The birthday cake I personally made for Victor had a mango filling. Vivian, allergic to mango, accidentally ate it and ended up in the hospital. Yet he pinned all the blame on me. Anger and disappointment overwhelmed me like a tidal wave. In the past, if I had been wronged like this, I would have shouted back recklessly, but now, I didn't want to say a single word. This relationship had rotted and stank, not a trace worth holding on to. My cheek ached and throbbed from being hit by the pillow, surely it was swollen. My silence was naturally taken by Victor as tacit agreement. His tone softened somewhat, but still carried a chill. "Tomorrow morning, cook some porridge and take it to the hospital to apologize to Vivian. The poor girl suffered a great injustice today and keeps insisting that I shouldn't blame you. You should also pay the price for the mistake you made." I held back the bitterness swelling in my heart and stared into his eyes, saying, "It's your birthday, and this is the birthday cake I made with my own hands. A mango-filled birthday cake, your favorite flavor, specially prepared just for you. I'm not Vivian's mom, I'm not close enough to know what she's allergic to. Victor's voice abruptly stopped. He must have remembered too. The second year we knew each other, the second year I was chasing Victor, back then I was still a baking novice, burning myself and ending up with blisters on my hands while trying to bake a cake. Victor didn't like sweets, the only thing he loved was probably ripe Kate mangoes. For his birthday, I peeled a whole big Kate mango, removed the pit, and finally chopped it to make the filling. That night, Victor drank quite a bit, using his fingers to dab cream on my face, on my body, then licking it off bit by bit, whispering in my ear, "Baby, you're so sweet." Past memories mingled with desire, and Victor's cold, hard expression softened. He walked over to me, his whole body leaning close, reaching out to touch the reddened side of my face where I had been struck. I abruptly turned away, avoiding the overwhelming scent of his cologne, but the smell still triggered a sneeze. The room fell silent, and Victor's phone rang with a distinctive ringtone, unlike the usual default tone. I knew it was Vivian calling. He frowned slightly but answered the call. A fragile female voice spilled out, sobbing and choked with emotion, soaked in grievance. "I'm sorry for not letting you have a proper birthday. I don't know, just earlier when I was having dessert with Claire, I even told her about how I almost died from eating mango as a child, and she said she'd specially make a mango cake. It's my fault too, maybe she forgot. But you two must not fight because of me. Victor, I'm all alone in the hospital, I'm so scared. Can you come and keep me company for a while?" Victor's voice softened as he comforted me, "Don't be afraid, I'll be back soon. You just behave and finish your 4 first." After hanging up, Victor's tone instantly turned cold. "Claire, now you've even learned to lie? Just because of your petty jealousy, you caused someone to be hospitalized and still refuse to apologize. You've really disappointed me. Tomorrow morning, cook some pig liver porridge and go to the hospital to apologize to Vivian." Saying that, he grabbed his suit jacket and turned to leave. It's not that he can't be gentle and polite, or thoughtful and caring, just not with me. Before leaving, his face was icy. "Claire, if you keep refusing to repent, don't expect me to visit your mother." As the door shut, my heart grew cold along with it. We had been together for 8 years. Victor said he didn't want to be tied down by family so early, so we never talked about marriage or met each other's parents. 2 months ago, my mother was unexpectedly diagnosed with a lymphatic tumor. The disease progressed rapidly, and now she can only rely on a wheelchair, unable to stand. The doctor said she is not responsive to chemotherapy or radiation and could pass away at any time. Mom said her wish was for me to live well. She wanted to see her precious daughter in a wedding dress. At that time, I cried as I told Victor about my mother's illness. He handed me a card, wiped away my tears, and told me to take good care of my mother and focus on her treatment. He said not to worry about money and that when things settled down, he would accompany me to visit her. But I waited and waited, and for 2 months he never mentioned it again. Unexpectedly, now that he brought it up again, it was as a bargaining chip for me to apologize to Vivian. Thinking of my mother lying in bed, my whole body went cold. At dawn, I grabbed a container of porridge and went to the hospital. Victor glanced at me, seemingly pleased with my tact. "Claire is here specifically to apologize to you." I just looked at Victor coldly, saying nothing. Seeing this, he pressed his lips together, took the porridge pot from my hand, and carefully poured it into a small white porcelain bowl. "Claire made liver porridge. Didn't you say it's your favorite? Eat a little more." Victor often had social engagements, and after he was hospitalized for a stomach bleed, I insisted on cooking various porridges to help him recover. He was very picky, he never touched organ meats before. To nourish him, I once made liver porridge and sent it to his office. For the first time ever, he said the liver porridge was delicious, and from then on, I made it for several days straight. Removing the liver's gamey taste isn't easy, and cooking it in porridge often makes it dry and tough. The timing is crucial. I had to watch the stove constantly. But knowing Victor loved it, no matter how troublesome, I was happy to do it. Only now do I realize that back then, the liver porridge also ended up in Vivian's stomach. Vivian sipped the porridge slowly, holding Victor's sleeve, winking at me. Sister Claire, I don't blame you for forgetting I can't eat mangoes. It's my own craving. Sister Claire, your cooking is amazing, the porridge is delicious, and the cake is too. Victor scratched Vivian's nose. You little glutton. The nurse came in during her rounds, smiling brightly. Victor really spoils his wife. She glanced at me standing nearby. He arranged for someone to bring breakfast early in the morning, so thoughtful. Pig liver congee is indeed perfect for Mrs. Victor's current recovery. The smile on Victor's face stiffened for a moment. He instinctively glanced at me, and seeing I said nothing, turned to ask the nurse, when can she be discharged? The nurse replied cheerfully, if there's nothing else, she can go home today. She could have just had injections at the outpatient clinic, but Victor was worried about his wife and insisted on hospital observation. Now you can rest easy. I stepped out of the hospital room and leaned against the cold wall, the sounds inside gradually fading into a blur. I remembered before, one night when I had acute gastroenteritis, dizzy and sweating cold sweat, stomach pain so severe I couldn't even sit up. I called Victor, only to be met with a cold response. Claire, calling emergency services when you're sick is common sense. Why are you calling me? That time, I was hospitalized for a week due to acute gastroenteritis, lost a full 15 pounds, and looked completely gaunt. Victor never showed up, and afterward, never asked about me. Love or not love, it's so simple to tell. It was just that before, I didn't dare open my eyes to see the truth, only fooling myself. Victor came out, saw me leaning in the corridor, and handed me the porridge container, saying, I've told Vivian, let's just forget about this time. She's not petty, she won't hold grudges against you. Seeing that I still hadn't spoken, as if granting a favor, I'm not one to go back on my word either. What I promise, I deliver. As she spoke, her voice carried a hint of condescension. Once these next couple of days are over, I'll go with you to see your mom. Victor kept staring at me, as if expecting gratitude from me at this moment. No need. I replied expressionlessly. I grabbed the porridge container and casually tossed it into the trash bin in the hospital corridor. Victor grabbed my wrist. What kind of attitude is that? I'm just looking out for Vivian, the young girl, a bit more. I've said it many times, I only see her as a sister. Do you have to keep making a fuss over this every single time? Just because you're sulking, you throw away the thermos? Maybe I've spoiled you too much. It's nothing special, just throwing out trash. With that, I turned and left the hospital. Victor and I have been together for 8 years. It's always been me chasing after him, revolving around him, everything centered on him. Even when people around us called me his sycophant, I didn't care. I think he's cold on the outside but warm inside. 8 years of being together, I managed to warm even a block of ice, but I couldn't warm Victor. In the end, these 8 years were just me forcing it. My phone buzzed with a reminder from the bridal shop. Today was supposed to be the day Victor and I would take wedding photos together. But it wasn't a traditional wedding shoot, just a wish I made to Victor during the new year, in the intimacy of our bed, with glances exchanged. I said I wanted to take a set of wedding photos together. Victor agreed, and I was overjoyed. Even though both of us knew it was just a photo shoot. The girlish hopes were hidden in every word, and Victor wasn't unaware, he just didn't want to understand. I called the bridal shop to apologize, saying I couldn't make it today and would pick up the reserved wedding dress another day. The bridal shop replied, Victor said Claire didn't have time, so he asked a colleague to try on the dress and help take photos. I recognized every word, but put together, I just couldn't quite understand it. But soon, I got it. Vivian's Facebook update boldly showed wedding photos with Victor, and the dress Vivian wore was the very wedding gown I had spent over 4 months working with a designer to customize. In the live photos, Victor and Vivian posed closely together as the photographer's assistant called out, "Handsome guy, beautiful girl, get closer." The familiar wedding dress, the familiar man, the familiar scene. The only difference from what I had imagined was that the leading lady had been replaced by Vivian. Taking several deep breaths, forcing myself to calm down, I liked Vivian's Facebook post and left a comment, "Wishing you 99." There was no longer the slightest reason to hold on to this relationship. I wandered aimlessly on the streets for a long time, until it was completely dark, before returning to the home Victor and I shared. Unexpectedly, Victor was already back. He noticed me staring at him blankly and frowned. "What's wrong? What's with that look? Am I not allowed to come back to my own home?" "Yeah, I thought you were with Vivian taking wedding photos," I blurted out. Victor came over, took my hand, and rubbed it in his palm. "Jealous little thing, I knew you were overthinking." He nodded toward the suitcase on the sofa. "Here, I brought the wedding dress back for you. We'll go take photos when you have time. Today, I was just helping Vivian out. The little girl begged me for ages, her family's pressuring her to get married, so she wanted some photos to show them. She specifically asked me to come back quickly and explain to you, worried you'd misunderstand and overthink." I looked up at him, still the same sharply defined face as when we first met, his gaze sincere and open. If it weren't for the conspicuous hickey on his neck, I might have believed his words. I pulled my hand out of his with Victor. "Let's break up." Victor's hand paused, as if he hadn't heard clearly. His expression suddenly turned cold. "Claire, you'd better know what you're saying. If it weren't for your moodiness and your refusal to go to the studio yourself, I wouldn't have agreed to help Vivian. It's just a photo. I advise you not to make a fuss. My patience with you has limits." "Victor, I know your patience has limits. So, I'm saying we're breaking up." "Victor, we're breaking up." He stared at me intently for a long moment, then kicked the box holding the wedding dress. The dress tumbled out in pieces, scattered all over the floor. "Don't regret this." With a bang, he slammed the door and left. I picked up the wedding dress that had been thrown on the floor and carefully cut it into pieces with scissors. A wedding dress worn by someone else, a man whose heart wasn't with me, a love that I couldn't win even after 8 years. What was there to regret? After packing my bags, I moved out of the house that held 8 years of memories. Unexpectedly, that very night, my phone was flooded with messages. "Congratulations, Claire, after 8 years of dating, you finally made it official. Congrats, Claire, you got what you wanted, you finally got married. Don't forget to send out invitations for the wedding." I was utterly confused, and then Victor's messages came through. "Claire, isn't this what you wanted? Satisfied now? Can we stop fighting?" I opened his Facebook and found that the pinned post was a wedding photo. In the picture, Victor and the bride in a wedding dress were embracing tenderly. The bride was shown only in a side silhouette, beautifully vague. The caption read, "At Claire, good things are coming, waiting quietly for the good news." Looking at this photo, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. Because no one knew better than me that the silhouette was Vivian. Not me. From beginning to end, the only time I appeared on Victor's Facebook wasn't even really myself, it was truly ridiculous. "Well, fine, it's all over now." I left a comment below, "Broken up, single, do not disturb." Then I blocked Victor, and the world became peaceful. I buried my head and had a good sleep, and when I woke up, my complexion was much better. I changed into a bright outfit and went to the hospital to visit my mother. I didn't want her to see me looking like a ghost before, nor did I want her to worry about me in her final days. Unexpectedly, just as I arrived at the ward, Victor walked in carrying a flower basket. Victor is incredibly resourceful. He never asked where my mother was hospitalized. When he wanted to, he naturally could find her. Victor has always been a handsome man, and now, lowering himself with grace, he crouched beside my mother's wheelchair. "Auntie, I just got back from abroad and was eager to see you. Let me peel an apple for you. Claire said you love them." Mom smiled and patted my hand. "Claire doesn't understand, Victor is so busy, yet he still troubles you to come here. Auntie isn't a bother at all." Full of lies, yet they made Mom's complexion noticeably rosier, making me reluctant to shatter this moment. "Auntie, please get well soon, so you can attend Claire and my wedding." Perhaps to make the lie feel more real, he took out his phone and showed Mom a photo of him and Vivian from the side. "Auntie, look, we've finished our wedding photo shoot, now we're just waiting for you to get better." Mom smiled as she looked at the photo, smiling for a long, long time. She took my hand and said, "I see my child here. As long as you're happy, that's all that matters." With that, she closed her eyes and turned her head toward the window. I noticed a glimmer of tears at the corner of her eye. Mom wiped the corner of her eye and told us she was a bit tired, urging us to go back early. Victor and I walked out of the hospital room one after the other. He grabbed my wrist. "Claire, can you stop making a fuss? You got everything you wanted, you saw my mom, I married you, what else could you possibly want? Besides, your mom likes me a lot, doesn't she? Do you really want to make her uneasy until her last breath?" Yes, he always knew. He knew I loved him, knew I wanted to marry him, knew my mom longed for my happiness. He held all of that tightly in his hand like a phone, only letting a little slip through when he thought I was being difficult or throwing a tantrum, as if bestowing a favor for me to be grateful for. He even went so far as to use my mother. Suddenly, hurried footsteps came from behind, and a nurse shouted loudly, "Bed 19, bed 19 is not responding. Bed 19, emergency." I froze completely, unable to move. Bed 19 was my mother, who had just been holding my hand, calling me her child, urging me to live well. Outside the emergency room, I waited in vain for a miracle. All I received was the doctor sighing and telling me, "We've done all we can. Please accept my condolences." Perhaps this is better for the patient, as the later stages of this illness are unbearably painful. On the very day Victor finally came to visit my mother, I lost her forever. At my mother's funeral, she lay quietly in the coffin, her face peaceful, no longer marked by the exhaustion and pain she once bore. Victor truly became like a husband, taking the place of me, a daughter who had become like a walking corpse, diligently handling every detail of my mother's affairs, busy and meticulous in every way. In the quiet moments, he would hold me close and comfort me, "Claire, Mom has just gone to heaven, no longer suffering. You don't need to be sad." I looked at Victor through tear-blurred eyes, unable to understand if it was Mom who, with her last breath, had exchanged her life for the caring and attentive Victor who now took care of and accompanied her daughter in the years to come. On the last day of the funeral, the staff told me I needed to sign for the cremation. I endured the heartbreak and signed my name. I knew that from this moment on, my mother and I would be separated forever. The staff handed me a small delicate box, saying it was found in Mom's clothing pocket when they were preparing her remains, and it should be given to me, her only next of kin, to handle. I held the small box close, curled up beside Mom's coffin. The huge wreaths surrounded me completely, shielding me inside. I wanted to quietly spend a little more time with Mom, just the two of us. Suddenly, a woman's voice echoed through the hall. "Victor." Victor's voice was cold. "What are you doing here? I haven't seen you for days. I miss you. Claire's mom passed away. She's completely broken down. I have to take care of her. You used to say she clung to you every day and you were fed up, and now you pity her just because her mother died? She's just a dog. Even after 8 years, there's some feeling left." Victor's face was cold, and his words carried not a trace of warmth. Through the funeral wreath, Vivian suddenly threw herself into Victor's arms. "Vivian, are you crazy? This is a funeral hall." He said no, but his hands were already wrapped around her waist. "Exactly, that's what makes it more thrilling, isn't it? Didn't you say you were fed up with Claire being as dull as a block of wood in bed, with no spark of interest at all? Last time at the studio, when you made me wear the wedding dress in the dressing room, wasn't it exciting? It's been days, I refuse to believe you haven't thought about me. You little seductress. I hid behind the coffin, frozen and unable to move. Through the wreath, I saw them half undressed, heard their low gasps and moans. They were so desperate, doing this right in front of my dead mother. I bit my lip hard, refusing to make a sound. As long as I didn't cry, the last image Mom saw wouldn't be such a disgrace. After a long while, the noise stopped. Vivian casually tossed the used tissue into the wreath, wrapped her arms around Victor's neck, and hung on him like a vine. Come to my place tonight. Come on, you've been with Claire for days now, it's my turn. After getting Victor's reply, she gave a showy, perfunctory bow to my mother's coffin, clicked away in her high heels, and left. My phone buzzed with a message from Vivian. Sister Claire, Victor didn't see it just now, but I saw you hiding behind the wreath. Sister Claire, you can endure this? No wonder you've stayed by his side like a dog all these years. But you've probably never seen Victor this passionate and fiery, right? After all, you're just a coward who only knows how to hide behind your dead mother. When the staff called Victor to confirm the cremation time, I finally trembled out from behind the wreath, collapsed onto Mom's coffin, and cried until I couldn't stop. Back in high school, I developed myocarditis from a cold, and the steroid medication made me gain 50 pounds in a month. I looked like I was about to burst at the seams. At that time, the girls at school were all about beauty, and being fat and ugly was a sin in their eyes. To them, I was just a puffed-up, fat trash, so ugly that even being near me was unpleasant. It was nothing unusual for glue to be poured on my desk or for mice to be stuffed into the holes in it. I hadn't done anything wrong, I had just gotten fat because of the medication. Victor transferred to our school then. He was smart, good-looking, and quickly secured the position of school heartthrob. One day after school, maybe he was in a good mood, or maybe just feeling kind, he let me out of the pitch-black sports equipment room and joked with his friends nearby, saying, "Why bully her? This little snowball is so cute." That day, he shone like a brilliant light in my heart. Later, as my health gradually improved, I no longer needed to take hormone medication, and I slowly lost weight. I had decent features, good grades, and gradually began to attract admirers. But Victor always remained my guiding light. I chased after him, took the same university entrance exam as him, and almost everyone around knew how much I liked him. When he played basketball, I would bring him water. When he was sick, I bought medicine for him. If he casually mentioned wanting to eat xiaolongbao from the west side of the city, even on a freezing winter morning, I would brave the cold to buy it for his breakfast. I pursued him for 2 years, and Victor, in an act of humility, agreed to my pursuit. After that, we were together for 8 years. I thought I was a lucky person who would eventually have my wish fulfilled, marrying the light that had shone into my life in my youth, having children, and building a family. But often, things don't go as hoped. My mother left me. My home was gone. My light was extinguished. My 10 years were in vain. I quietly saw my mother off on her final journey. Victor acted as if nothing had happened, worried about my condition, and stayed by my side watching me closely. "Claire, if you want to cry, just let it out. Claire, I promised Auntie I would take good care of you." I stared at the face I had loved for 10 years and finally couldn't hold back. I slapped him hard. "Victor, you don't deserve to mention my mother. Get out of here." Victor's expression instantly darkened, growing cold. He fell silent for a moment, then sighed. "Claire, I know you're hurting right now." He reached out to grab me, but I shoved him away. "Claire," he ground his teeth, "you'd better calm down." I looked at him. Calm down? How am I supposed to calm down? Is it not calm enough to watch you kiss Vivian? Or not calm enough to see you deceive my mother with wedding photos of you and Vivian? Or not calm enough to watch you and Vivian shamelessly disgrace yourselves in front of my mother's coffin? Do you think my mother didn't know? I opened the box my mother left behind, and inside was a photo of me at 18. The handwriting on the back looked weak and chaotic, unlike my mother's usual notes. She must have endured immense pain while writing it. Child, he is not a good man. Love yourself well. Mom will always love you. My mother, just one glance and I knew the person in that photo was not me. In the final moments of her life, she preserved her daughter's dignity with grace, and exhausted every effort for me until her last breath. My eyes burned with rage, yet no tears fell. I slammed my phone hard at Victor, but he was so stunned he didn't react. The phone hit his forehead, and blood trickled down the side of his face. Victor, the past 10 years, I was blind. I only ask that from now on, you and Vivian never, ever appear in my world. Never again. After I finished speaking, all color drained from Victor's face, leaving only bloodstains and panic in his eyes. But none of it concerned me anymore. I took my mother's ashes and returned to our hometown, settled her there, and opened a small dessert shop at the foot of the mountain not far from where she rests. When the weather is nice, I bring a small bouquet and sit for a while by my mother's grave, chatting with her. I tell her over and over that the child is doing well now, full of sunshine and happiness every day, so she can rest easy. Back at the shop, I make all kinds of delicate little cakes, strawberry-flavored, blueberry-flavored, cute in appearance and fresh in taste. The neighborhood children all love them. But once, a sweet little girl with her hair tied up asked me softly, "Sister, can you make me a mango-flavored cake?" I smiled and gently ruffled her hair. "Sorry, sweetheart, I can't. I'm allergic to mango."